Settling into your space. Coming into a nice soft child's pose. You can bring your knees a little further apart if you like. Lengthening the arms out in front. Just checking in with your breath. Checking in with intention. Just shifting gears slightly. Curl the toes under and bring the buttocks back to the heels. Lengthening the arms out in front of you. Walk the fingertips away from you. And then drawing the forehead back down toward the floor. Keep the elbows slightly lifted. Arms engaged. Gently pulling the floor towards you with your hands. On your exhalations, just gently drawing the lower belly inward. So you can direct the breath to that space in between your shoulder blades as you draw it in, softening through the front of the chest on your exhalations. Placing the hands directly underneath of the shoulders, knees underneath of the hips, and uncurling the toes behind you. Just beginning to link breath with movement, inhaling, lengthening upward. On your exhalation, rolling up into cat posture. Bring the chin in toward the chest, drawing the belly in toward the spine. Keep flowing through with your breath. Inhaling into cow, press the belly down toward the ground, lifting the tail, drawing the gaze forward. And on your exhalation, rolling back up into cat. Just one more time with your breath. Lift and open up through the front of the chest. Exhaling back into cat posture, rolling up through the length of your spine. As you feel ready, coming back into a neutral position, curl the toes under and make your way up into a nice soft downward dog. You can bend the knees slightly or even begin to walk the feet in place. Just taking some of the pressure off of the hamstrings and the lower back, warming into it gently. Make sure that your fingers are spread nice and wide. A little bit more weight into the base of the index finger and softer into the thumb. And when you're ready, step forward to the top of your mat. Pike forward on an inhalation, folding all the way over and down. Bend your knees deeply enough that your belly can rest down on your thighs, possibly taking hold of opposite elbows as you extend them down toward the ground. Let your head be heavy here. Piking forward, bring the hands to the hip crease, firm the legs, and draw all the way up to the top. Bring the arms up over the head, palms together, and bring them back into center namaste. Once again, checking in with your breath, initiating deep ujjayi breath if you wish. And on an inhalation, lengthening the arms upward, bring the hands together if possible. On your exhalation, hinge forward from the hip crease, lifting the inner thighs. Bend the knees if you need to. Let the head drip down. Piking forward on an inhalation, tailbone to crown, and stepping back to the top of your plank pose. Lowering down through the modification, you can bring your knees down to the ground, shift the hips back a little bit, keeping the elbows in close toward the rib cage as you lower down to the floor, bringing the belly down to the ground. If the lower back is tight, separate your feet. If it's not, glue your heels together. Keep the buttocks a little softer as you lengthen away from the lower back. Keep the chin drawn in toward the chest and elbows hugging toward each other. On an exhalation, when you're ready, curl the toes under and back up into downward dog. Still keeping it soft if you need to by bending the knees and lifting up through the hips. Otherwise, lifting way up through the seat of your buttocks, extending actively down through the backs of your legs. Stepping forward, on an inhalation, lengthen tailbone to crown, fold all the way over and down, pressing deeply down into your feet, firm the legs, and lifting back up top. Bring the arms up over the head and hands into center namaste. Again, on the inhalation, lengthen upward. Allow the exhalation to draw you forward and down, opening up through the front of your chest, letting the head fall down. Lengthen, tailbone to crown, and on an exhalation, stepping back to the top of your plank pose. You can move through the modification if you wish, or lowering into chaturanga, keep the elbows hugging into the rib cage as you lower the body down, lifting up into a cobra, just drawing the chest away from the floor. You can bring your hands behind you, bring the palms to the backs of the buttocks, or interlacing the fingers, extending the knuckles towards your heels and slightly up toward the ceiling. Keep the chin drawn in toward the chest and pressing deeply into the tops of your feet. When you're ready, bring the hands back underneath the shoulder balls and lifting back up into downward dog. Deep, full, flowing breaths. Just feeling your way through your downward dog. When you're ready, stepping to the top of your mat, pike forward on the inhalation, folding forward and down on the exhalation, and lifting actively back up to the top. Hands coming back into center namaste, drawing the tail down toward the earth, lifting on the inhalation, on your exhalation, extending forward and down, drawing lower belly inward and lifting the inner thighs. Piking forward on the inhalation, long line, tailbone to the crown of your head, and stepping back to the top of your plank pose. Lowering down to the ground in the way that supports you best today, and lifting up either into a cobra, lifting possibly a little higher, hugging the elbows in toward each other, and on an exhalation, drawing back into downward dog. Keep the arms firm. Engage your legs by lifting the inner thighs, slightly pressing the inner thighs apart from each other as you lift up through the seat of your buttocks. Stepping up to the top of your mat as you feel ready, lengthen on the inhalation, folding forward and down, and lifting actively back up to the top. Bring the arms up over your head, bringing hands together and back into center namaste, squeezing the hands together. One more time, Surya Namaskar A, lengthening upward on the inhalation. On the exhalation, folding forward and down. Piking forward, let the inhalation draw you forward. And on the exhalation, stepping or hopping lightly back to the top of your plank, lowering down to the ground through the modification or chaturanga, lifting up into cobra or up dog. Firm the arms. Lift and open through the chest. Keep the inner thighs lifted. And back into downward dog. You can lift the right leg as you come up. Just keeping it parallel with the ground, or if lower back feels strong, lift it a little higher. Squeeze up through your toes. On an exhalation, step the right foot forward, left foot flat, lining up the front heel with the back heel, and lifting up into Warrior One, bending the right knee over top of the right ankle, firm down into the ball of your big right toe. Lengthening actively up through your arms. If the neck feels strong, look toward the hands, and when you're ready, bring the hands back down to the ground, stepping back to the top of your plank, and flowing down through your vinyasa. Allow your vinyasa to be an expression of your intention, honoring where you are at today. Coming back into downward dog, lifting the left leg if you wish. You can lift it parallel with the ground or a little higher if it feels good. And when you're ready, stepping the left foot forward, right foot flat, lifting up into Warrior One. Keep the back leg very firm, firming the thigh into the thigh bone, squeeze into the outer edge of that right foot. Deep, full breaths. When you're ready, bring the hands back down to the ground, stepping back to the top of your plank, and again flowing through your vinyasa, linking movement with breath. Making your way back into downward dog as you feel ready. Keeping the breath even and deep. Stepping up to the top of your mat, piking forward on an inhalation. On the exhalation, fold forward and down. Let your head be heavy as it drips down. Pressing into the feet, and drawing the arms all the way back up above your head. Bring the hands back into center namaste. Surya Namaskar B. Scoop the air from down low, coming up into awkward chair. You can keep the hands apart. You can bring them into center namaste. You can bring them out to the sides like you're flying, or lengthen the arms up beside your ears, hugging the forearms toward each other. On an exhalation, fold forward and down. Piking forward on the inhalation, draw the chest away from the belly button and stepping back to the top of your plank, lowering down to the ground in the way that supports you best. Lifting up into a cobra or up dog, and on your exhalation, drawing back into downward dog. Yogi's choice if you wish, lifting your right leg. You lift it and the knee comes higher than the hip. You can bend at the knee, pressing the thigh toward the opposite side of the room. Kind of hug in your right shoulder as it wants to flare out here a bit. Squaring off the hips, stepping the right foot forward, left foot flat, and lifting up into Warrior One. Again, lift the hip bones forward and up. Squeeze the bottom ribs down, and on an exhalation, making your way into Warrior Two, inching your right foot forward if you feel you have a little extra space here. Squeeze the right knee to the right side to help maintain alignment. And when you're ready, bring the hands down to the ground, stepping back top of your plank and lowering down through your vinyasa. Making your way back into downward dog and lifting the left leg if you wish. If the knee comes above the hip line and you wish to take it a little deeper, again, bending the knee, press the thigh toward the opposite side of the room, hug the left shoulder in. When you're ready, square off the hips, squeeze left knee in and step the left foot forward between the hands. Lifting up into Warrior One. Take a really deep breath as you lengthen upward and exhaling into Warrior Two, inching the left foot forward if you feel you have some more space here. Keep the right foot firmly anchored to the floor. Windmilling the arms, bring the hands down to the ground, stepping back top of your plank and flowing through your vinyasa. Deep, full breath. Lift and open through the chest in up dog or your cobra, and making your way back into downward dog. Checking in with your hands. Remembering firm foundation, building it from the ground up. Keeping the inner thighs lifted and engaged. When you're ready, stepping forward, top of your mat, pike forward on the inhalation, folding forward and down. Bending the knees, drop the belly on top of the thighs, lengthening the arms forward, squeezing the hands together. Lift your belly away from the thighs, but keep the buttocks low, no lower than your knees. And lifting all the way back up to the top, hands into center namaste. Surya Namaskar B with a couple twists. Lifting up into awkward chair. Deep, full breath. On your exhalation, folding forward and down, straightening the legs. Piking forward on your inhalation, lift up out of the pelvis. And on the exhalation, folding forward and down, step or hop back top of your plank, lowering down through your vinyasa. Let the inhalation draw you up, lifting into cobra or up dog, and on the exhalation, back into downward dog. Lifting the right leg if you wish, yogi's choice. Bending the knee if you wish to take it a little deeper, hug that right armpit in. You can lift the right hand if you like, looking toward the hands. Stay steady. Square off the hips, right knee in, and step the right foot forward between the hands, lifting up into Warrior One. Deep breath in on the exhalation, coming down into Warrior Two. Inch the right foot forward a little bit. Hug the right knee to the right side. Soften the shoulders away from your ears. Sink the hips nice and low. You can bring the left hand to the back, the left side of the rib cage as you lift the right arm up, coming into an open warrior here. Possibly slide the left hand down the left leg. If you have the space, wrapping the left arm behind the back, possibly taking hold of the top of the right hip or right thigh. When you're ready, bring the right elbow down on top of the right thigh, lengthen the left arm up toward the ceiling. If you wish to deepen it from here, bring the fingertips down toward the ground on the inside of the ankle of the right hand and draw the left arm up and over top of the left ear, palm facing down. Bring the hands back down to the ground, step back to the top of your plank, and lower down through your vinyasa. Inhaling, lifting up into cobra or up dog, and on the exhalation into downward dog. Yogi's choice again, if you wish, lifting the left leg. If you're feeling strong here and you want to play a little bit as you bend that left knee, look toward the hands and see if you can lift the left hand without flipping all the way over. Bring it back down nice and steady, square the hips off, squeeze the left knee forward, left foot between the hands, and lifting up into Warrior One. Deep breath in as you lengthen upward, and on the exhalation, back into Warrior Two, inching the left foot forward. You can bring the right hand to the back of the right side of the rib cage as you come into lifted warrior, just turning the left palm facing up, lifting even the bottom right rib away from the right hip bone. As you open up on the left side, you can bring the right hand down the leg, or possibly wrapping that right arm behind the body, locking the hand into the top of the left thigh, roll it open, sink the hips low. You can keep the lock as you bring that left elbow down on top of the left thigh, lifting the right arm up toward the ceiling. If you wish to move more deeply, bring the hand to the inside of that left ankle, drawing the right arm up and over top of the right ear, palm facing down. Roll the right side of the rib cage open, and then bringing the hands back down to the ground. Step into plank, lowering down through your vinyasa, lifting up into cobra or up dog, and making your way back into downward dog. Remember that child's pose is always there for you, right where we began. If you need to come down to it at any point, honor what your body needs today over and above anything I'm inviting you to do. Keep the breath even and steady. Press it way back. And when you feel ready, stepping or hopping lightly up to the top of your mat, bring your feet to the outer edges of your mat and sink the buttocks nice and low, keeping the knees over top of the ankles. So you can bring the torso kind of in between the thighs, lengthening the arms outward, lengthen through the fingers, and squeeze the knees apart from each other. When you're ready, lifting all the way back up to the top, bringing hands back down through center namaste. Bring the feet hip distance apart again. Scooping the air from down low with the fingertips, inhaling into awkward chair. On your exhalation, folding forward and down, straighten the legs, lift the inner thighs, let the head drip down. Piking forward on the inhalation and stepping or hopping back, top of your plank, lowering down through your vinyasa. Opening up through the chest on the inhalation, lift the inner thighs, and exhaling into downward dog. Yogi's choice, if you wish, lifting the right leg, squeeze up through your toes. You can bend the knee if you wish, press the thigh toward the opposite side of the room, hugging the right armpit in. Straighten the legs, square off the hips, and step the right foot forward between the hands. Left foot flat, lifting into Warrior One. In your exhalation, making your way into Warrior Two. Just building on vinyasa. Squeeze the right knee to the right side. Hug the outer edge of your left foot to the floor. You can bring the fingertips to the outside of your right foot, either to a block or to the floor if you're able to, and draw the left arm out and over top of the left ear, palm facing down. Lift and open through the left side of your rib cage. When you're ready, bring the hands down, stepping back, top of your plank, and flow through your vinyasa. Lift and open on the inhalation through the front of your chest, exhaling into downward dog. Lifting the left leg if you wish, squeeze it up, possibly bending the knee. Hug the left armpit in towards your ear. Squaring off the hips, step the left foot forward, right foot flat, lifting into Warrior One. From Warrior One, lengthening And exhaling into Warrior Two. Step the left foot forward if you have the space here. You can bring the left fingertips to the outside of the left foot to the block or the floor. Lengthen the right arm up and over top of the right ear, palm facing down. Bring the hand back down to the ground. Step back to your plank and lower down through your vinyasa. Always checking in with your breath, keeping it deep and flowing free. Making your breath a priority. Lifting the right leg. You squeeze up on your exhalation. Draw the right knee toward the right elbow. Coming into the top of a high plank. Walk your left foot back a little bit if you need to. Hug the nose in toward the knee. Lifting the right leg up again. Squeeze up, possibly bending the knee, pressing out through the thigh. When you're ready, straighten the leg. Drawing the right knee forward toward the left elbow, top of a high plank again. Hug the lower belly in. Keep that back left leg firm. Draw the nose in toward the knee. When you're ready, lifting the right leg back up and stepping the right foot between the hands. Come up onto the ball of the left foot. Sink your hips nice and low here. Bring the left hand to the inside of your right foot and lengthening the right arm up. You can stay right here or stepping back into a side plank, stacking your right foot on top of the left. You want to build on it, lift the right leg, lengthening up through the right arm, possibly drawing that right arm over top of the right ear. Bring the right foot down, right hand down, stepping back into plank and flowing through your vinyasa, sweet and slow. So you come back up into downward dog, lifting the left leg, possibly bending the knee. Press the thigh toward the other side of the room, opening up that hip. When you're ready, squeeze the left knee forward toward the left elbow. So flexible people, make sure you're not resting the knee on the elbow. That would be cheating. When you're ready, lifting the left leg back up. Squeeze up through the toes. On the exhalation, drawing the left knee toward the right elbow. A little bit of a twist here. So dropping the left hip, squeezing the knee in as close to the elbow as you can without touching. Coming back up into your three-legged dog, lift the left leg nice and high, and then stepping the left foot between the hands. Bring the right hand to the inside of the left foot, sink the hips low, squeeze straight that right leg behind you, and then lifting the left arm up toward the ceiling. You can stay right here or stepping back into a side plank. Possibly staying here or lifting the left leg. If you want a little bit more work, draw the left arm over top of the left ear, palm facing down, stretch through the fingers. Bring the leg back down, hand down to the ground, and flowing through your vinyasa. Lifting and opening on your cobra or up dog. Keep the inner thighs lifted and back into downward dog. Always wanting to move into your postures from a place of stability. You can bring the knees down to the ground. Bring the forearms down to the ground. Bring the elbows right underneath of the shoulders and walk the feet back until you're in a forearm plank. Breathe. Keep the lower belly hugging in. Tailbone moving down towards your heels. When you're ready, bring the belly down to the floor, coming into Sphinx. Deep lion's breath, in through the nose, out through your mouth. Coming back up into your forearm plank. Lifting the right leg. You want to work a little harder here. Lift from the inner thigh, press through the ball of your right foot and through the heel. Bring the right foot down and lift the left leg. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Bring the left foot down, bring the belly back down to the floor, turning the toes away from you, coming up into Sphinx, deep in through your nose, out through your mouth. And coming back up into forearm plank. Walk your feet all the way together this time. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your buttocks, and then bring the belly down to the floor, Sphinx posture, lion's breath. Making your way back just into a child's pose for a moment, resting the back, resting your head, allowing the breath to come into that deep, even, steady flow again. Perhaps even taking a moment to check in with intention, and as you feel ready, make your way back up into downward dog. Stepping forward to the top of your mat, piking forward on the inhalation, folding forward and down. Let the head be heavy. You can take hold of your big toes with the index finger, middle finger, and thumb, like you're making a peace sign. Pike forward on an inhalation, and on the exhalation, fold forward and down. Firm the legs. Press deeply down into your feet. As you press down into the feet, trying to lift them with your hands, drawing the rib cage over top of the thighs and hugging the lower belly inward with the exhalation as you lift up through the seat of your buttocks. Releasing your toes, lift the front of your feet and slide the hands underneath of the feet right up to the wrist crease. Piking forward, and on the exhalation, folding forward and down. There's bend in the elbows, drawing them to the outside edges, spreading that space between the shoulder blades. Actively draw the crown of your head down towards your toes as you lift up through the seat of your buttocks. Releasing your hands. Bring the hands up to the hip crease and drawing all the way back up to standing. Bring the arms up over the head and squeezing the hands back into center namaste. Scooping the air from down low, inhaling into awkward chair. On the exhalation, folding forward and down, straightening the legs. Pike forward on the inhalation and step or hop back, top of your plank, flowing through your vinyasa with style and grace. Coming back into downward dog as you feel ready. Stepping right foot forward, turning the left foot flat. Bring your right hand to the inside of your right foot. Wiggle your right foot out to the side just a little bit so you can bring the hands directly underneath of the shoulders. You can stay here, or if you wish, wrap the right shoulder underneath of the right knee. Bring the hand to the outside of the right foot. Again, staying here if you wish. Kind of hug the right hip back a little bit. You want to take it deeper, wrap the right arm behind the back. You're going to bring the left hand behind, clasping hold of hands if possible. Roll the left side of the rib cage open. If you wish to take it more deeply, begin to straighten the right leg. Make sure that your right toe stays firm down on the ground here. Rolling left side of the rib cage open, and as you feel ready, releasing from the posture and stepping back into the top of your plank. Flow through your vinyasa. Inhaling, scooping up into cobra or up dog. And exhaling back into downward dog. Left foot forward, right foot flat. Bring the left hand to the inside of the left foot to the floor. Wiggle the left foot out to the left side a little bit. You can stay here. Or, if you wish to take it more deeply, drawing the left arm underneath of the left knee. Bring the hand to the outside of the foot. Each step building on the next. If you wish to take it more deeply, wrapping that left arm around the back of the left side of the buttocks. Possibly bring the right hand around toward the left to meet it, clasping hold of fingertips if possible. If not, just fake it. Roll the right side of the ribcage open toward the ceiling, and if you wish, begin to straighten that left leg, taking it a little deeper. Always respecting your personal edges. Bring the hands back down to the floor. Step back, top of plank. And lower down through your vinyasa. Remember, if there's ever a piece of the vinyasa that you need to take out to honor where your body is at, give yourself permission to do that. Coming back into your downward dog. Easy, steady breath. Firm hands. Strong arms. Stepping up to the top of your mat. Pike forward on the inhalation. Folding forward and down, let the head drip down heavy. Pressing into the feet, coming down into a nice low, awkward chair. Keeping the torso close to the thighs. If you wish to deepen it from here, bring the hands into center namaste and twisting to the right side, bring the left elbow or left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Check in with your left knee. Make sure your left knee is hugging back and in line with the right. You can bring the left hand down toward the ground, right hand toward the ceiling. Come back into center namaste, and on an exhalation, twisting to the opposite side. Right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. Hug the right knee back to keep it in line with the left knee. If you wish to take this more deeply, bring the right fingertips down toward the floor, left hand up toward the ceiling. Bring hands back into center namaste. And fold forward and down. Just let your head shake out, gently nodding or shaking the head. When you're ready, lifting all the way back up to the top, bring the hands down through center namaste. Just turning sideways on your mat to give yourself some space here, coming into a wide-legged stance. Make sure the toes are facing forward or turned slightly inward. Lift and open on an inhalation, keeping the legs firm. On your exhalation, hinge forward from the hip crease. Bring the hands down toward the floor. If they don't reach, bring blocks underneath of the hands. Walking the hands to that space in between your legs. Keep lifting up through the seat of your buttocks, keeping elbows over top of the wrists. When you're ready, bring the hands back to the hip crease and draw all the way up. Lift and open up through the chest on an inhalation. On the exhalation, hinging forward from the hip crease, drawing forward and down, coming into a modified downward dog. Walk the hands forward. Bring the thumbs a little closer and pull the floor towards you. Lift the inner thighs, extend back through the buttocks. Squeeze into the outer edges of your feet. When you're ready, bring the hands back to the hip crease, drawing all the way back up to the top. Draw the tail down as you lift and open up through the front of the chest. On an exhalation, hinging forward from the hip crease, drawing forward and down. Keeping the hands on the hip crease, squeezing elbows toward each other, possibly taking hold of opposite forearms or interlacing the fingers again, extending the knuckles up toward the ceiling and back and behind you. Keep the chin gently drawn in toward the chest to protect the neck. Allow an inhalation to draw you all the way back up, releasing the hands. Lift and open up on an inhalation. On the exhalation, sliding the hands down your legs, taking hold of the ankles or the big toes. Piking forward on the inhalation from the tailbone to the crown and folding forward and down. There's bend in the elbows, drawing the elbows to the outside edges as you extend the crown of your head down toward the floor, buttocks up toward the ceiling. Releasing the toes, bring the hands back to the hip crease and drawing all the way back up to the top. Stepping up to the top of your mat, bring your feet hip distance apart, hands into center namaste. Lengthen up on the inhalation. On your exhalation, folding forward and down. Flowing through Vinyasa. Lifting on an inhalation, piking forward and stepping or hopping back, top of your plank pose. Lowering down, nice and slow. Lifting into cobra or up dog. And as you feel ready, making your way back into downward dog. From downward dog, you're just going to step or hop forward, bring the buttocks down to the floor. Lengthening the legs out in front of you. Take a chunk of your buttocks and move it away from the sits bones. Firm the legs. Lengthening the arms upward, deep full breath in, and on the exhalation, folding forward and down. Taking hold of the ankles, the outer edges of your feet, or possibly the big toes. Pike forward on the inhalation. On the exhalation, folding forward and down. Keep drawing the chest away from the belly button. Drawing the crown of your head towards your toes. Keeping the legs firm as you extend through the backs of the legs, through the heels, and back through the tops of your feet. Keeping breath even and steady, deep Ujjayi breath in and out through the nostrils. Lengthening the arms upward again. Bring the hands behind you this time. Fingers pointing toward the buttocks and straightening the arms as you lift the buttocks away from the floor, coming into reverse plank, if possible, drawing the big toes toward each other and down toward the floor. So you feel ready, stepping back into the top of your plank and flowing through your vinyasa. Lift and open on the inhalation and exhaling into downward dog. Once again, as you feel ready, step or hop lightly to the top of your mat. Bring the buttocks down to the floor. Lengthen the left leg out. Bending the right knee, bring the right foot in toward the right buttock. See if you can bring the right foot on top of the left thigh, if possible, hugging it into the top of the left hip as long as your knee and ankle are okay with it. Bring the right arm behind your body, possibly taking hold of that big right toe. Lengthen the left arm upward, and on an exhalation, extend forward and down over the left leg. Keep the left leg firm. As deep of a breath as you can take here. When you're ready, releasing and switching sides. Squeeze the left foot in toward the buttock, lengthening the right leg out. From here, placing the left foot on top of the right thigh, possibly into the crease of that right hip. Lengthen the left arm up toward the ceiling and bring it behind your back, around the waist, possibly take hold of that big left toe. Lift the right arm up toward the ceiling, and on an exhalation, extend forward and down, drawing the crown of your head toward your toes, possibly catching hold of that right foot with the hand. Keep the right thigh firm. Breath deep and even. Releasing the posture as you feel ready, crossing the feet, or stepping, hopping back top of your plank and lower down through your vinyasa, lifting into cobra or up dog on the inhalation, and on your exhalation making your way back into downward dog, firming the legs. Every movement counts. Breathe deep. Stepping or hopping back up to the top of your mat, lengthening the left leg out, bring the right foot into the buttock. Crossing the right foot over top of the left thigh. Bring the right hand behind you, lengthening the left arm up toward the ceiling, and then twisting to the right side. Bring that left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Possibly bring the left hand down to the top of the right thigh. If you're able to reach that space in between the thigh and calf, bringing the left hand between that space. Possibly wrap your right arm behind your body. Take hold of what you can, or just fake it. Unwrap, unwind. Bring the left foot in toward the buttock. Lengthen the right leg out. Bring the left foot over the top of the right thigh to the opposite side. Lengthen your right arm up, and then bring your right arm to the outside of the left thigh. Lifting long and tall through the spine. From here, if you wish, possibly bring that right hand to the space in between the left calf and thigh. If you have the space, bring the left arm behind your body, possibly clasping hold with the hands, or just fake it. As you feel ready, unwind, coming back to the top of your plank and moving through your vinyasa. Coming back into downward dog. Stretch it way back. Press deeply into the hands. Stepping or hopping back to the top of your mat, bring the buttocks down to the floor. You bring the feet together, bring the soles of the feet together, holding on to the ankles or the outer edges of your feet, possibly peeling the toes apart from each other slightly. Lengthen from the tailbone to crown, open up through the front of your chest, and on an exhalation, extending forward and down, pressing the outer thighs down toward the floor, lengthening out of the pelvis from the tailbone to the crown of your head, drawing the chest forward. And keep the buttocks firmly in contact with the ground here, just pressing back slightly. At your furthest extension, you can bring the chin in toward the chest and allow the head to rest down for a moment. Coming all the way back up and stepping back to the top of your plank and flowing through your vinyasa. Lift and open on the inhalation, cobra or up dog, and making your way back into downward dog. Deep, full, flowing breaths. Stepping up to the top of your mat, pike forward on an inhalation, fold all the way over and down, letting the head drip down heavy, pressing deeply into the feet and lifting all the way back up to the top. Bring the hands up above your head and hands into center namaste. You bring the right foot to the inside of the left ankle, the inside of the calf, or the inside of that left thigh. Pressing the right knee to the right side, keeping it in line with your right hip if possible. Coming into tree posture, you can bring your hands into center namaste. If you wish to take this more deeply and knees and ankles are feeling healthy and strong, bring the right foot into the crease of your left hip, possibly wrapping the right arm behind your body, taking hold of that big right toe if possible. Lengthen the left arm up, and then hinging from the hip crease, firm the left thigh and extend forward and down. You can bring your fingertips down to the floor to help you out. Possibly bring the hand down to the block if your hand doesn't quite reach. And then coming up with control. You're going to slide the foot down onto the top of the left thigh. Press through the right heel and back through the toes, keeping the shin parallel with the ground as you drop the buttocks, coming into a version of awkward chair. Possibly bringing the forearms in front of that left shin. If you're able to bring the forearms in front and parallel with the shin, you can begin to drop down just a little further. Perhaps bringing the hands down to the ground. Tuck your right toes firm in around the left shoulder, shifting the right knee into the back of the right arm. You can come up onto the left toes and then possibly lengthen the left leg behind you. And then stepping back to the top of your plank pose. Lifting into cobra or up dog and making your way back into downward dog. Stepping up to the top of your mat, pike forward on the inhalation, folding forward and down, let the head drip down. Pressing into the feet and drawing all the way back up to the top. Bring the arms up above your head, squeeze the hands together, and bring them back into center namaste. Other side. Root down into your right foot. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right ankle, the inner calf, or the inner thigh. Careful not to place your foot on your knee. You can stay here in tree posture, drawing the left knee to the left side. If ankles and knee are feeling strong and healthy, seeing if you can bring the left foot into the crease of that right hip, possibly wrapping the left arm behind your back, moving the fingertips toward the big toe. Lengthen the right arm upward, and on an exhalation, hinge from the hip crease, extending forward and down. Keep the right thigh firm, careful not to lock the right knee. You can bring the right fingertips or hand down to the ground. Extend the crown of your head down toward the foot, and then with control, coming back up into a standing posture. You can bring the left foot on top of the right thigh, press through the heel, draw back through the toes, and dropping into a version of awkward chair pose. Bring the hands into center namaste. As you lower the torso forward and down, seeing if you can bring the forearms in front of that left shin, and if you can, hook the left foot around the outer edge of that right shoulder, hugging in nice and deep. Bring the hands down to the floor, keeping elbows above the wrists. Walk your right foot back a little bit. Lift and open up through the chest, and then possibly extending that right leg out behind you, flying pigeon. Stepping back, top of your plank pose, and lowering down to the ground through your vinyasa, sweet and slow. Making your way back into downward dog. Breath is sweet and deep. Stepping up to the top of your mat as you feel ready. Pike forward on an inhalation, folding forward and down. Just let the head be heavy. Let go of holding on. Lifting all the way back up to the top. Bring your arms up above the head and bring the hands back down through center namaste. Stepping back with the left foot. Bring the arms up to shoulder height and coming into Warrior Two to begin. From Warrior Two, hinge from the hip crease. Bring the right hand to the right ankle or shin, lengthen the left arm up toward the ceiling. You can stay here or begin to straighten the right leg, coming into triangle pose. You can bring the right hand to the inside of the right ankle, pressing the back of the hand against the inner ankle, pressing the backs of your shoulders against an invisible wall as you actively lengthen up through the left arm. Bring the left hand down, step the right foot in just a little bit to give yourself some more space. Keeping the right knee bent, bring the left hand to the outside of the right foot to the floor or a block and hug your right hip back. Lengthen tailbone to crown and then drawing the right arm up toward the ceiling. Coming into revolve triangle. Hug the right hip back, left hip forward as if you're squeezing the inner thighs toward each other. Don't worry if that right arm is not directly up toward the ceiling. Stepping back into the top of your plank as you feel ready. Lowering down through the vinyasa. Inhale, opening up through the front of your chest and exhaling back into downward dog. As you feel ready, stepping up to the top of your mat, pike forward on the inhalation, folding forward and down. Pressing deeply into the feet, firm the legs, and drawing up to the top. Bring the arms up above your head and hands into center namaste. Stepping back with the right foot this time. Coming into warrior two, bend the left knee forward. From here, hinge from the hip crease, taking hold of the left ankle or shin. Lengthen the right arm up toward the ceiling. You can stay here or begin to straighten the left leg. Again, careful not to lock your knee. Keep the left thigh lifted and engaged. Possibly bring the left hand to the inside of that left ankle, pressing the hand against the inside of the ankle. When you're ready, bring the right hand down, stepping the right foot in just a little bit. Bring the right hand to the outside of the left foot. Hug your left hip back, lengthen from the tailbone to the crown of your head, and then drawing the left arm up toward the ceiling. From here, if you wish, straightening the left leg. Hugging left hip back, right hip forward, continuing to lengthen tailbone to crown. Bring the left hand back down and stepping back to the top of your plank pose. Lower down through your vinyasa. Just allowing that vinyasa to be an expression of your intention today. Coming back into downward dog as you feel ready. You step the right knee toward the right hand. And shuffle the front of the right shin toward the top of your mat, lengthening the left leg out behind you. Lift and open up through the front of your chest, and then extending over top of the right leg, coming into pigeon. Make sure that your left toes are not turned to the left or right, but that you're right on top of the ankle, toes pointed away from you. Allowing the posture to do some of the work for you here. If you wish to take it a little deeper, you can curl the left toes under, walk the left knee back, and then bring the thigh down to the ground first, turning the toes away from you. As you feel ready, drawing back up, you can stay here, lifting and opening up through the chest, or bending the left knee, reach back with the left hand, bringing it to the outer edge of the left ankle, and lengthen the right arm forward. Just gently seesawing back and forth. Kick your left foot back, and then lengthen out through the right arm. Just beginning to warm into the play here a little bit. You can keep moving through this. If this is challenging, stay with it. Otherwise, see if you can tuck that left foot into the crease of the left elbow. Possibly bring the right arm up and behind the head, taking hold of fingertips, or just bring the hands behind the head, releasing the grip and making your way back into downward dog. From downward dog, drawing your left knee forward toward the left wrist. Shuffling the front of your left shin toward the top of your mat. Lengthen the right leg behind you. Lift and open up through the chest, and on your exhalation, drawing deep into pigeon pose here. Remember, if knees and ankles really don't like pigeon pose, please don't do it. Coming into a reclining pigeon instead. If your knees are whispering here, they'll scream at you later. always respecting where your body is at. You can stay right here or lifting. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders again. Reaching back with the right hand, taking hold of the outer edge of the right ankle. Pressing the right foot back, lengthening the left arm forward, gently seesawing back and forth. From here, if you wish, bring that right foot in a little closer. See if you can tuck the ankle or the toes into the right elbow. Bring the right hand behind your head and lengthening the left arm up, and bring the left hand behind your head. Press the head back into the hands. Lift and open up through the chest. When you feel ready, releasing the posture, bring the hands back down to the ground and shifting back into downward dog. Bring the knees down to the ground. Bring the buttocks back to the heels and coming back into child's pose. As you feel ready, coming back into a comfortable seated position, lengthen the left leg out. Bring the right foot to rest on top of the left thigh, and then bring the left shin underneath the right shin, stacking right knee on top of the left ankle, right ankle on top of the left knee. Press through both heels, drawing back through the toes. You can stay lifted here, or if you wish to take it more deeply, drawing forward and down. Coming into double pigeon. You can stack your head on a block or on your hands, or allow the head to rest down if this is comfortable for you. Just hanging out in the posture. Staying with your breath. Slowly drawing all the way back up, untangle yourself, and switching sides. Bring the left ankle on top of the right thigh, right shin underneath of the left shin. Like stacking fire logs, one on top of the other here. Left ankle is on top of that right knee, right ankle underneath the left knee. Lift and open up through the chest, and then drawing forward and down into your double pigeon. Support your head if and where you need to. Otherwise, let the head be heavy. Slowly drawing up out of the posture again. Untangle the legs, bring the feet side by side, and slowly lowering your back down onto the ground again. Walking the feet in a comfortable distance towards your buttocks, knees and ankles the same distance apart from each other, arms down on the ground, lifting the buttocks up away from the floor. From this point, be careful not to turn to look left or right. Just keep looking at your own belly button or toward the ceiling. Arms are lengthened out on the floor. Lifting into bridge, slowly lower all the way back down to the ground. You can take a resting position for your back for a moment if you wish. Walk the feet to the outer edges of your mat and just let the knees knock toward each other. Maybe even taking a releasing breath here, releasing some of the effort. As you feel ready, preparing for bridge posture again, walk the feet in toward the buttocks, knees and ankles same distance apart, lifting the buttocks up off the floor, lifting the hips toward the ceiling. You can stay right here, or if you wish, coming into full bridge, roll one shoulder under and then the other. Possibly bring the hands together underneath of your body, extending the knuckles toward that space between your heels. Keep the back of your neck long as you come up onto the backs of the shoulders. Squeeze the knees toward each other slightly here. Unrolling the shoulders and lowering all the way down to the ground. Again, just resting the lower back. Setting up again for bridge pose. Walking the feet back in toward the buttocks, lifting the buttocks away from the floor. You can stay in bridge pose this time around, or if you wish, moving into full wheel pose, bring the hands behind the shoulders, lift up onto the crown of your head first. So you can bring the elbows toward each other, and then lifting up into wheel, straightening the arms. Lift and open up through the top of the rib cage, possibly beginning to straighten the legs. Lift up through the pubic bone, Keep all edges of your feet grounded and rooted to the floor. As you come down, careful of your neck, tuck the chin in just a little bit and drawing all the way back down. Hug the knees in towards your chest. And just go ahead and take a couple of little baby hip circles. Bring the hands to the kneecaps and drawing circles in both directions. Just softening up some of that work through the lower back. As you feel ready, bring the feet down to the ground one at a time. You can bring the right foot to the top of the left thigh. Lift and shift your hips over toward the right side of your mat and bring the right arm up behind you. Lengthen the left leg all the way out and then turning to the left side. Don't resist the twist. Move with it. The right shoulder lifts. You can always bring the hand to the top of the right hip. Otherwise, slowly beginning to lengthen that right arm out beside you in a T position. Taking a couple of releasing breaths here, softening into the twist. Coming back into center, bring the body into the center of your mat again. Bending the left knee, bring the left foot to the top of the right thigh. Lift and shift your hips toward the left side of your mat and lengthen the left arm up behind you. Lengthen the right leg out to the floor and twisting over toward the right side. You can stay right here, or if you wish to take it more deeply, lengthening the left arm out to a T position beside you. Again, if that left shoulder is really lifted away from the floor, just bring the left hand, palm facing down, onto the top of your left hip. Deep releasing breath, and then drawing back into center. You can keep the knees bent with the feet on the floor if the lower back is tender at all, or lengthen the legs out one at a time. Bring the arms out beside your body, palms facing up if possible, so you have as little surface tension here as possible. Letting the feet just flop apart from each other, resting the space between your eyebrows. Just softening the lower jaw away from the upper jaw. Allowing the arms to be heavy, legs to be heavy. Completely releasing your practice breath. And simply beginning to watch your breath. You can even say to yourself, I breathe in, I breathe out. With each exhalation, allowing your body to soften and relax. Moving into Shavasana, no longer doing anything. But just allowing yourself to be. Watching the breath, staying with it. And if your mind wanders, gently drawing your awareness back to the breath again, willingly and lovingly. Staying in Shavasana as long as you are able to. Coming back home to what is. Namaste.